Howdy, Cowboy Gamer here, and you're listening to the third episode of the Portable Gaming Podcast. And I am super excited because today, when I release this is going to be, to date, my best episode ever. And to prove that, I'm going to let you see a little tidbit what you're in store if you listen through this entire podcast. I hope you enjoyed that. I just wanted to give you a little idea of what's coming up if you were able to catch all of that. But sit back, relax, and enjoy. Today, as always, I will be breaking up my podcast into segments again on YouTube. It worked really well. Some of the people that wanted it broken up so they could just listen to certain parts really enjoyed that. I still have a lot of people just listening to the full episode, so it's working both ways. And as always, I'm still solo today. I'm getting some comments from a listener, and a couple other people would be interested in hearing Cowgirl Gamer hop on this podcast. I've talked it over with her. She might come in for maybe the first segment on games we're playing so you can get perspective on mine and hers, but no guarantees as of yet. Just maybe if you guys like this episode and leave comments saying, hey, we do really want her to come on, maybe I can persuade her. But again, it's just solo today. I had some people say they would be on the episode, but after thinking it over, the people that really wanted to be on the episode didn't really have portable gaming systems. Some of my friends have Wii U's, PS4s. They have a smartphone, but they don't really play games on them, and they don't have the couple friends I have that have a 3DS or a Vita don't really want to be on a podcast. They're just scared, really. But so we'll try it again solo today, and I'm getting also some comments that people want me to find a co-host that's suitable. I'm sorry that I have strict requirements for what I will allow, but hopefully I can find someone that meets the qualifications, and then you won't have to listen to my voice anymore. So, let's get right down to it. What are the games I've been playing over the last week or so? Now, I will start off and apologize to all of you. Last episode, I was playing Majora's Mask. I was loving it to death. But since that day, I have not picked up Majora's Mask in almost 2 weeks. And it's really annoying me because I was really enjoying the game, but I just found so many other games to play, and even fell back on a couple of old games. In fact, I hadn't picked up my 3DS up until 2 days ago, so maybe the Vita just kind of swayed me with a few things, but on the 3DS, what I've just played in the last few days, started back up with Pokemon Shuffle again. All those updates that they put in, I gave some of them a try, had a bunch of street passes, so I'm way up over my maximum heart limit, so I got plenty of playthroughs. But when I left a long time ago on Pokemon Shuffle, I was on the very last level, the very last guy, 180 as of that point, and I was of this point, and I just couldn't beat it. So, yesterday I worked on it, and I finally beat the last guy as of now, and I mean, they'll add more eventually, but I'm super happy that I finally beat it. It was just a free-to-play Pokemon game that I'm just super glad that it's done. I'll come back to it when there's more updates, more levels, but as of this moment, I'm going to put it aside. I want to spend time on other games, and I don't want to come back to it for a while. As always with the 3DS, there's lots of Street Pass stuff I'm doing. I really don't play a lot of the Street Pass games. I've narrowed it down to a bunch of them I've beaten. I've gotten past all of it, so I'm just focusing on the 3 games of Street Pass, which is Warrior's Way, and then the two new ones, Ultimate Angler and Battleground Z. Warrior's Way, I haven't conquered the entire country yet, and I really want to get that done. So I'm just saving up a ton of guys. I'm using all my Street Pass coins on that and building up my army, and eventually I will have enough to conquer the entire land. Ultimate Angler and Battleground Z, the two new games, so I'm still playing them since there's no way I've gotten those finished yet. Ultimate Angler, for just being a dumb fishing game, similar to other fishing games that Nintendo has released even on 3DS, it's pretty much the exact same thing, but I have not played any of the other fishing games, so that's why I'm still enjoying it. I'm loving the amount of different places you can go, the environments, and even though it's a very simple concept, it's fun to do. It's different than just those other 4 Street Pass games. Originally, it's got a little something different, a little more interaction. Battleground Z has a lot more interaction since you're running around trying to fight off zombies. And I really thought this was going to be the game I'd like more than Ultimate Angler. A lot of other people have been talking about Battleground Z, saying how great, how awesome, how much they go and find Street Passes, they go to Nintendo Zones just to get those 5 or 6 so they can play this more often. But I really haven't. I don't know what it is about this game that has made me not want to keep playing, but I've fallen away with this game. Kind of like the Star Wars Commander on my smartphone. I still am playing it, but without spending the money, the game just drags. I'm going to force myself to finish it, but it takes so long because each level to upgrade a component or a place in your town takes some of them like 2-3 days of time, and I only have 2 androids, so only 2 things can be getting worked on at any one time. And sitting there and starting them both and having them work and realizing one's going to take a day and a half and the other's 2 days, you seriously check maybe twice a day to pick up all your resources, and then once the piece is done, you grab an android to go do another thing. It's just, without spending money, it's going to take me probably a couple of months before I can finally beat this game at the way this game is dragging. It really pushes you. They want to be annoying, and they want their money, which is annoying, but that's how games are. However, what I've been putting most of my time into recently, and what I'm most excited about, and what really surprised me, is all of these PlayStation Plus games I've gotten now that I have a subscription. And most of you, again, are just, seriously, you should have got this months ago, and I understand that, but I waited and waited. I had to think about it. I wanted to make sure I wanted to do this, but now that I have, it is definitely one of the greater decisions I've made in the last few months, or probably of this year, in gaming. I start off with last month, so I got Murasakis Baby and The Unfinished Swan, and both the games run between the $10-15 mark to buy it off the PlayStation Store. I do not recommend that for most PlayStation Plus games. If you have a subscription, download the games for free, but don't spend full price on these games. Find a sale where they really are cheap. Murasakis Baby, really weird art direction, very Tim Burton-esque. If you're used to, old movie Beetlejuice a long time ago, if you know that, it is very much like that. It's a really short game. It's only maybe hour, 2 hours at most, and it's fairly good for controls. The controls really surprised me. I thought it was all going to be touch screen and back panel touch. There was a moment when you do get to use the joysticks, but I was really surprised at, for as short of a game as it was, how much I was really enjoying playing it on my Vita and doing stuff and trying to get through the game. Now, for me, it took 3 hours. This is because there was a problem with my save, and about halfway through the game, it stopped saving. And right at the end, right when I was about to get to the cutscene to finish the game, and I was just almost there, my game crashed. So I had to restart, and I was only about 1/3 of the way in originally, so I had to read everything all over again. That was annoying. But it still made me realize how great of a game it was. There was one moment where I was playing on my Vita, and I went through a door, and I looked down kind of at my hands, and you realize that you're holding your Vita upside down. And then I turned it back over, just because naturally I want to hold my Vita right side up. And then I realized I was in the wrong screen, and I fell to my death. And it was just a weird realization that, yeah, you died, it's not that big of a deal. You start back just a little bit, and you keep going. But it was just that weird, amazing thought, holding your Vita and realizing it's upside down, and it really doesn't matter which way it's going for that level. And those types of things just really amazed me and made me realize how great of a game this was, and a good PlayStation Plus game. Again, short period of time of gameplay, so that's why I wouldn't pay full price for this game. Unfinished Swan was another one that kind of surprised me on how good of a game it was. It was short, just like Murasakis Baby, but as a free PlayStation Plus game, this really delivered and gave me a good experience for nothing, or for the couple of bucks that I would have put into the games to get the subscription for the entire month. This game, it starts all white, and by hitting the triggers, you throw paintballs out into the screen, and they hit walls, they hit objects, they break. And by doing that, you kind of see where you are in this room, a hallway, and you're able to feel your way out around the world with a blank slate. So you can't just start throwing paint everywhere, otherwise everything turns black, and then you still can't see. It just went from full white to full black. But if you throw out a couple, you'll hit those walls, you'll see where your wall is, where an obstacle is, where water, all those types of things. And that's how you progress. And as the levels go, sometimes the paintballs aren't always black. They're water balloons, so the water disappears, or they're different colors. Sometimes you're in a night scene, and so your paintballs are actually black. Really different types of ways of playing this game, and really, really interesting. The game goes later, and eventually it allows shadows, but shadows only where the sun is visible, and so you can gain those shadows, and that's all they're going to give you. So you still have to throw black paint to figure out some stuff, but things like that really made the game enjoyable. And so I didn't have a problem when, after 2 hours, I finished this game. And there are great aspects. There are times where you have to just run. You can't just go nice and slow. But super great, weird game that I love the concept, and I wouldn't mind seeing another game do something similar that gives a lot larger of a game. The other two games I've been doing for my Vita are Super Exploding Zoo, which I got this month for my PlayStation Plus subscription, and Minecraft. We'll first talk about Super Exploding Zoo. Weird concept again. You expect that now with PlayStation Plus, these indie games. Super Exploding Zoo, you start off with an animal, you go around, you run into other animals, they're in pens, or they're in different places around the level, and you kind of create a large ball of animals and then run into aliens that are invading the zoo, and that's how each animal has a different power of explosion that does so much damage to an alien. Also, all the animals have different abilities. Some make great land bridges, some open walls, some dig, some explode kind of landmines, stuff like that, which makes it a really interesting gameplay experience. Now, as of this moment, I've put about 5 to 6 hours of gameplay into this, and I have not beaten it. No, I'm not a bad gamer. I've had to restart this game 3 times now, and it annoys me to death. The amount of times there's an overworld, and there's kind of 4 worlds. Each world has about 20 levels in. I've always gotten to World 3. Somewhere in there, there's a problem. My save data is corrupted. Something goes wrong, and I have to restart the game. I've had to completely erase my data file and start back and re-download the game to start back over. And this is my third playthrough, and it blows my mind. I keep getting say, do you want to send a report to Sony? And I say, yes, I'll send a report to Sony. But I know in my mind that they're not going to fix this game for a couple of months probably. After so many reports have gotten in, they're just like, you're just that 1%. We don't have to deal with you yet. But for being a PlayStation Plus game, people are playing this, and if it's happening to other people, there's a lot of people getting annoyed. This game has horribly long load time to start up the game, and it really doesn't have too much in the game, except on occasion, when you beat an entire world or certain levels, you just get this white loading screen, and sometimes it goes away pretty quick in a couple of seconds or 30 seconds, and sometimes it just bugs. And then 5 minutes later, it's still playing the music like it's loading, but it's never going away. So you have to crash the game, and sometimes when you crash the game, that's when you corrupt your data. Really annoying. I'm just back to that part. I've actually made it the farthest. I've only like 3 levels past the farthest point I've ever been. If this wasn't a free game and it wasn't such a great concept, I would have stopped playing long ago. But I kind of like the idea of creating these giant death balls of animals and just running into zombies and watching it all blow up. Great. If you have I think this is cross-buy on PS3 or PS4, definitely go and look it up. I hope you have a PS Plus account. I think this was an $11 game on PlayStation Store, so hopefully you can get it cheaper. Find a deal. This is one of those games. Actually, all 3 of these I definitely recommend if you can get cheap enough. Minecraft. As I said before, I'm getting completely sucked in. It destroys my life. I decided to get this game, as I said before, to do one thing, and I'll put up the photos I've been taking in this podcast so you can see what I've been trying to do. I've had some great realizations in this game. I go in and I meet an enemy that I'm like, I didn't know you were here, or I go digging underground and I just hit this chasm underground. I'm like, I just look around, I'm like, wow, this is horrible graphics, but they just really nailed the impact of opening out into this giant underground world and how awesome that is. Again, it's Minecraft. You're digging a lot, so there are long stretches where you just have to mine out a giant branch mine and try and get ores or iron or gold or whatever. One problem I have with the Vita version, and I know Microsoft owns it, which hurts me a lot because I don't know if they're going to patch this game or fix it or do anything that's wrong with the bugginess. There's just a couple. The main one that I have right now is the blue ore, and I never can pronounce this, lapis lazuli. Yeah, everyone make fun of me. It's fine. The blue rock that you get. I've gone in, and there's a way on the crafting table that you can turn 9 pieces into a block. And you can do that for tons of ore. Turn it all in a block to save on space. In the Vita version, you can also undo these blocks and turn these giant blocks into 9 of that ore. Except for this blue lapis. That is the only one that is not available to break. You can't lay it down on the ground and hit it with a pick to break it. You can't do anything to break this block into multiple pieces, which annoys me because one of my projects I'm working on requires a lot of blue for dyes, and this is how you get blue dye. So after I had a ton, I turned it into blocks and realized that I couldn't use it, so I've had to go back, and I've spent days mining just to find more, and I still don't have enough. It'll probably be another week before I get enough to complete my last project. But as you're seeing probably across the screen, this is the whole reason I have been working in Minecraft. It was the original reason, like, if I'm going to get this, I want to have one project that I want to go for, and I know it's going to take a lot of time, but this pyramid, this was always my idea of what I wanted to do. The idea of playing a Microsoft game on a Sony console with a pyramid showing Nintendo characters was just a super idea for me, and I really enjoyed it. So that's why I did it.